Okay, hello everybody, Rob here in Bakersfield, California on the 2013 Porsche 72, heading off to work. And welcome to another Throwback Thursday. This week's episode is going to be titled Ninjas in the Tree. Now, I was working day watch out of Eastern Division up in the Sierra Mesa area. That was Beat 46. I was Unit 46 John, a one-man patrol unit. It was a Sunday morning, and I get a radio call to meet the woman that her husband is acting strange, and that he claims that he sees ninjas in the trees in the park across the street from their house. Well, I get to the neighborhood and I recognize the house, because for the past month I had gone to that home on several occasions. The husband had lost his job and was staying home during the day taking care of the baby while Mama went off to work. And he had basically appointed himself the neighborhood watch committee. And he had made several calls in about truant kids over in the park when they should be in school, drug activity going on over in the park, strange people walking around the neighborhood. And on all those calls I got there, and of course there was nothing to be seen. They were already all gone by the time I got there. So I'm thinking, okay, this is probably just another case of some kids playing in the park and he's bored, calling in, because there's nobody in the park when I get there. Well, it was a quiet Sunday morning. The other officers on the two beats next to me show up as backup, which I really didn't need, as it turned out. But it was nice they showed up anyway. So the three of us go up to the door and knock on the door and make contact with the wife. And she's telling me that her husband's hallucinating and acting strange, that he sees ninjas over there in the trees in the park. And we look over in the park and I go, well, where? She goes, over there in those trees. Well, there's nothing in the trees. There's nothing in the park. I think there was a guy over there walking a dog or something. That was about it. So I go inside to talk to the guy, and of course he recognizes me, you know, and says, oh, Officer Rob, thank God you showed up. You know, and I mean, the guy is definitely concerned and everything, you know, so I talk to him and he comes over, he crouches down at the window and peeks through the curtains, and he says, he's there, you see them, there's ninjas in the trees over there. Well, I look out the window, there's nothing in the trees but birds, blackbirds. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he thinks the blackbirds are ninjas and he's really hallucinating. So I tell him, okay, well, let me talk to your wife some more, you know. And he goes back and he hides behind the lazy boy recliner in the corner of the room. So I go to talk to the wife and I ask him, well, you know, has he been drinking or smoking anything or taking any drugs or anything? And she goes, no, nothing. And he didn't have any odor or alcohol on him. The house did not smell like pot. And he didn't really strike me as the type that would be taking illegal drugs, but you never know. Well, the wife insisted that he hadn't taken anything, so I asked, you know, I go over and I ask him, you know, have you taken anything today? And, you know, he's insisting, no, he didn't take anything. Well, as we're sitting there talking and everything, it finally comes out that, well, he did take his medication that the doctor had prescribed for him. As it turns out, the week before, he had gone to see the doctor about depression because of losing his job. And the doctor had prescribed some medicine for him to take to help him with his depression. So I asked the wife to see the bottle. She goes and gets it, brings it out to me, and I'm reading the label. And sure enough, on the label it says that one of the side effects could be, you know, hallucinations. I don't think they used that exact term, but that was basically what it is. So I told her, well, I think that's probably what it is. You know, he's probably having a bad reaction to the medicine that he took. Well, she wants to know, well, what can you do? What are you going to do for me? You know, and it's like, I told her, we have few options, none of which are probably going to work. Option number one is I can take him to county mental health, try to get him admitted for a 72-hour health risk psych evaluation. But they're not going to take him unless he's posed a danger to himself or to others. which he has not done. Other thing I could do is I could arrest him for being under the influence of an unknown substance, because I don't really know if that's what he took and that's what he's under. Maybe it's something else, but then he's going to have to go to jail, and they're going to stick him in a rubber room until he comes down, and then she's going to have to go bail him out, and then they're going to have to go to court, hire an attorney. I didn't really want to do that to the guy, because he'd been a nice guy all this time before. You know, I'd never had any problems at that house before, other than him being just a little bit too nervous about his neighborhood, you know. Which that's totally understandable, not a big deal. I said our third option, which is probably the best one, is you close all the windows and the blinds, keep him in the house, keep the room dark, put on some soothing music, just sit and watch with him, and wait till he comes down off the medication. Don't let him take any more pills, and go see the doctor on Monday and get his medication changed. If it doesn't get any better, call me back in about 6 hours before the end of my shift, and I'll come back out and we'll figure out something else to do. So she says, okay, you know, and I tell the guy, okay, I checked the whole park, you know, check there's no ninjas out there, and I'll come by every so often and check the park, make sure they don't return. Well, he was all happy about that, because I was going to be watching out for the ninjas for him. So I go back out front, and the other two officers that were there, they all know, well, how come you didn't just arrest him and, you know, take him down to jail and lock him up in the rubber room? I said, well, because it was a prescription drug, you know, not an illegal drug, and he's not really harming anybody. What would the point in that be? Just a bunch of paperwork for me and putting a mark on the guy's record that he don't need. So it was a little bit of a learning experience for them, that you don't have to arrest everybody you come into contact with. So, you know, that was it. I never heard from him back again the rest of the day, so I assumed everything had gone well. And about a week later, I'm over there in that same neighborhood, patrolling the park, looking for drug activity. And he was apparently looking out the window and sees me. He comes out and waves me down, and so I pull over and stop, go to talk to him. And he comes over and apologizes for causing me all that trouble on that Sunday and morning, and wants to thank me for not arresting him or sticking him in county mental health, and that as it turned out it was a bad reaction to the drugs the doctors had prescribed to him, and the doctor had put him on a different medication, and he was doing much better. So I told him, well, I was glad to hear that, you know, and everything worked out great and everything, and I appreciated the fact that he was helping keep an eye on the neighborhood for me, and told him that I hope he finds a job real soon. So it all worked out okay in the end. I didn't get an arrest out of it, but that's fine. I didn't have to do 2 or 3 hours worth of paperwork either. And I made a friend. And it's always nice to make friends in the neighborhood. And yeah, I did get more calls back to the house, but they were legitimate calls, you know, kids partying in the park, drinking, smoking pot, stuff like that. I almost think the guy wanted to be a wannabe cop or something, you know, he was so on it. And eventually he did find a job and go back to work, which was nice. Cut down my calls for service. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that funny little story. And if you did, hit the like button. If you got some comments, go ahead and make a comment. If you want to see some more, subscribe and come back again next week. Don't forget to come back Saturday or Sunday for the week's lane splitting videos. And I guess the moral of that story is that you don't have to arrest everybody, and a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So, bye-bye, see y'all later.